You're watching KSG News, where you get all the latest from across the globe to help with your exam preparations. KSG India proudly announces the commencement of center batches for offline coaching at Delhi, Vijayanagar, Delhi, Rajendra Nagar, Jaipur, Bhopal, and Indore centers, making sure students' health and safety and also the targeted approach towards UPSC Civil Services examination preparation. Visit www.ksgindia.com for batch queries. We begin with updates related to GS Paper 3. The Union Cabinet gave its nod for amendments in the Insurance Act, paving way for 74% foreign direct investment in the sector. Currently, the permissible FDI limit in the life and general insurance stands at 49%. The Cabinet in its meeting has approval for amendments in the Insurance Act 1938. Now, what does this mean? Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in Budget 2021 and 2022 said, and I quote her, I propose to amend the Insurance Act 1938 to increase the permissible FDI limit from 49% to 74% in insurance companies and allow foreign ownership and control with safeguards. Under the new structure, the majority of directors on the board and key management persons would be resident Indians, with at least 50% of directors being independent directors and specified percentage of profits being retained as a general reserve. For investor protection, an investor charter would be introduced as a right of all financial investors across all financial products. It was in 2015 when the government hiked the FDI cap in the insurance sector from 26% to 49%. Increase in FDI will help improve life insurance penetration in the country. Life insurance premium as a percentage of GDP is 3.6% in the country, way below the global average of 7.13%, and in case of general insurance, it is even worse at 0.94% of GDP as against the world average of 2.88%. The government earlier allowed 100% foreign direct investment in insurance intermediaries. Intermediary services include insurance brokers, reinsurance brokers, insurance consultants, corporate agents, third-party administrators, surveyors, and loss assessors. Shifting focus to GS Paper 2, NGO Association for Democratic Reforms has approached the Supreme Court against the opening of windows for sale of electoral bonds before forthcoming assembly polls in 5 states and union territory. The application moved through advocates Prashant Bhushan and Neha Rathi also sought an urgent hearing in the matter. It contended that there is a serious apprehension that any further sale of electoral bonds before the upcoming state elections in West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Assam would further increase illegal and illicit funding of political parties through shell companies. The Finance Ministry on the 2nd of January 2018 notified the Electoral Bond Scheme 2018. As per the scheme, an electoral bond is a bond issued in the nature of a promissory note. It may be purchased by a person who is a citizen of India or entities incorporated or established in India. The bonds are issued in multiples of rupees 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakhs and 1 crore. According to data on electoral bonds declared by political parties in their audit reports for 2017 to 2018 and 2018 to 2019, the ruling party had received more than 60% of the total electoral bonds issued till date. The NGO further pointed out so far more than 6,500 crore rupees worth of electoral bonds have been sold, with the majority of donations going to the ruling party. Almost 99% of the electoral bonds purchased are of value rupees 1 crore and 10 lakh denominations, which show that it is not individual citizens but large corporations which are purchasing these bonds with a view to receive kickbacks from the government. Clearly, these corporations are being allowed to make unlimited anonymous donations to the ruling political party because of the amendments brought about in the Finance Act 2017 and Finance Act 2016. The petitioner asked the court to restrain the authorities from further selling their electoral bonds during the pendency of the petition against its validity. It maintained that the electoral bond scheme has opened the floodgates to unlimited corporate donations to political parties and anonymous financing by Indian as well as foreign companies, which can have serious repercussions on the Indian democracy. Shifting focus to GS Paper 3, ISRO's commercial arm New Space India Limited has bagged 4 more dedicated launch service contracts, even as it plans to pursue satellite building deals. NSIL launched its first dedicated commercial mission on the 28th of February 2021, orbiting Brazilian satellite Amazonia 1 from Sriharikota Spaceport of the Indian Space Research Organization. Going into the details, NSIL Chairman G. Narayanan said, and I quote, "We currently have 4 more dedicated launch service contracts which will be executed in the coming 2 to 3 years. Apart from launch services, NSIL is also actively pursuing the new policy change to provide space-based services on demand-driven basis, a shift from the current supply-driven model. On the basis of its new mandate obtained as part of the space reforms, the company will shortly enter into realizing satellites too. The initial focus will be on driving the change nationally from supply-driven to demand-driven model in the domestic market. NSIL is not averse to taking up these activities for other countries. The NSIL is also proactively working to improve the potential of Indian industries by way of technology transfer in several identified areas from ISRO to them. This will definitely help them play an increasing role in the emerging space markets, both nationally and globally. So far, NSIL entered into 14 such technology transfer agreements and much more such transfers in the days to come. Going into some background details on the Small Satellite Launch Vehicle, or the SSLV, the compact launcher is being developed by ISRO as a newer launch-on-demand vehicle for meeting smaller satellite segment capacity globally. According to sources in Bengaluru headquartered ISRO, the maiden flight of the SSLV is expected in April. SSLV is a 3-stage all-solid vehicle with the capability to launch up to 500 kg satellite mass into 500 km low Earth orbit and 300 kg to Sun synchronous orbit. Some more updates related to GS Paper 3. China and Russia have agreed to jointly build a research station on or around the moon, setting the stage for a new space race. The US and the Soviet Union, followed by its successor state, Russia, have long dominated space exploration, putting the first astronauts in space and on the moon, and later collaborating on the International Space Station that has been in orbit for 2 decades. Now, what does this mean? The joint announcement by China and Russia has the potential to scramble the geopolitics of space exploration, once again setting up competing programs and goals for the scientific and potentially commercial exploitation of the moon. This time, though, the main players will be the US and China, with Russia as a supporting player. In recent years, China has made huge advances in space exploration, putting its own astronauts in orbit and sending probes to the moon and the Mars. It has effectively drafted Russia as a partner in missions that it has already planned, outpacing a Russian program that has stalled in recent years. In December, China's Chang'e 5 mission brought back samples from the moon's surface, which has gone on display with great fanfare in Beijing. That made China only the 3rd nation after the United States and the Soviet Union to accomplish the feat. In the coming months, it is expected to send a lander and rover to the Martian surface, hard on the heels of NASA's Perseverance, which arrived there last month. The US has its own plans to revisit the moon by 2024 through an international program called Artemis. That's it in this edition of KSG News. Stay tuned for more such updates from across the globe to help with your exam preparations. KSG India proudly announces the commencement of center batches for offline coaching at Delhi, Vijayanagar, Delhi, Rajendra Nagar, Jaipur, Bhopal and Indore centers, making sure students' health and safety and also the targeted approach towards UPSC Civil Services examination preparation. Visit www.ksgindia.com for batch queries.